Yo, what's up guys? So today I got something really cool to share with you. It's gonna be a Hero Dragon Synchro Tzolkin deck. Now there was this card that got a lot of hype a while back when it was first announced, and that's the Ultimate Tzolkin because it gave you whatever synchro that you wanted that happened to be a Dragon Synchro. And it works really well with some of the new hero stuff simply because Soul Day lets you just get out an extra monster pretty easy. And on top of that, what really helps out, strangely enough, is actually this card Draco Equest, which will actually pretty much give you like a turn 1 double Dragon Synchro that will be level 8. And a lot of people definitely miss synchros. I myself haven't seen a deck that is focused around synchroing. Now this deck is really cool because it incorporates links as well as one of the fusion monsters, as well as some of the Destiny hero support that came out that is a little bit newer. Now we don't have the Elementor Solid Man in this play right here, but that could be another card you could definitely use in this deck. But as far as this deck itself, I mean, it's a pretty strong turn 1, and it seems to be a very consistent deck, as you guys will see, because, well, you know, searching out a hero plus, you know, a red resonator is basically all you need to do, and, well, heroes do that quite easy. I'm going to go through a few of the replays courtesy of Salah2 over here. He built a really cool deck. So again, guys, basically what you need for the combo is like Red Resonator and then like just a hero. Well, Summoner Monk gets you whatever hero you want, and on top of that, a lot of the other heroes, Vion, will let you send, of course, Shadow Mist. Shadow Mist will let you add whatever you want. So it's a pretty simple concept. Again, you're just making like one of the Destiny hero fusions. Basically, the malicious that you add, you use the poly to make it, and of course, when you go for the Wonder Driver, you're going to be able to utilize that ability to add that polymerization right back in and set it. And actually setting the card can be another target for, of course, your Ultimate Tzolkin if you happen to have gone through some cards. But we're going to poly into the Draco Quest. And what's interesting with this, guys, I want to just mention this real quick. Dragon Knight Draco Quest, people were like, what the heck is this thing, right? It did see some play technically during Dragoonides. There was a combo with it. But anyways, the main concept of this card is once per turn you get to target a dragon-type synchro monster in the graveyard. You banish that target, and if you do until the end phase, this card name becomes that monster's, and replace this effect with that monster's original effect. Then while this card is in attack position, your opponent takes any effect damage you would have taken instead from their card effects. So that's actually pretty good. So that can actually stop other decks like Trickstars from being very effective. And then on top of that, you have the Ultimate Tzolkin effect again, so you're able to re-get out whatever level 8, or technically it's 7 or 8 synchro. It doesn't have to be an 8, but pretty much most people go for 8s. But there are some other good cards as targets that I do want to go over. But I just wanted to mention that also Ultimate Tzolkin cannot be targeted for attack. So this one, it copies its effects, and then on top of that, it like reverses the burn damage. So again, that's really good against Trickstars, which is still a very popular deck. Now, unfortunately, he wasn't able to get rid of every card in his hand because Void Ogre Dragon does require that. And heck, you can make Beals, like you can make whatever level 8 synchro that you want. And it seems to be, again, a very consistent deck. For those of you guys that do want to play Heroes plus Synchros, because, again, Heroes is a deck that I think will just, it'll maintain relevancy as far as people playing the deck and popularity. But also mixing in Synchros, which is something I really like. In Yu-Gi-Oh! And I just wish there was better synchro support that was like for links. Like it's just like, oh, if you control this card, you can, it's a 0/0, but you can synchro summon as much as you want or something. I don't know. Basically, I just want more synchro support. But you guys can see again the play over here. It's very similar. A lot of times he's going for a Void Ogre Dragon, which lets you negate a spell or trap while you have no cards in your hand. And then you have Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, and then this stops burn effects. So this stops burn effects. This one will stop spell and traps, and then this one will, of course, stop monster effects. And then if anything battles, it battles a 5 or higher, basically it's going to gain attack, so you'll be able to run over. The other guy playing some Pendulum Magicians does kind of attempt to do some stuff, but it's really not going to be able to deal with this board because this deck is definitely oriented around a turn 1 play. Heck, I think you could even potentially in this deck make a Dark Law, because if you follow up with a Void Ogre Dragon, a Crystal Wing Synchro, and then you just had the quick play, the mash change, and you made a Dark Law, people would just quit on you. I don't blame them because that's a very powerful field, and most decks just couldn't deal with this. Now this last duel over here is a little bit funny, and you'll be surprised by who actually wins this one, and I'll give you guys a deck profile very soon, right after the replay. But anyways, again, we're going for the bread and butter play. And like I said, guys, it's pretty consistent. I mean, all you need is Red Resonator. And you can technically go to Needle Fiber to go for that card anyways. But the main important thing is when the card is normal summon, you can just special summon a 4 or lower monster from your hand. And then when this card is special summon, you can target one face-up monster on the field, and you get to gain life points equal to its attack. It's not an effect that you're going to be using, but maybe sometimes in the right scenarios, you might be able to win because of that, just because you'll get extra life. Now, he gave this person that's playing a banished deck way too many cards, and I wouldn't recommend doing this, but it was a funny play over here. So he's going to banish a bunch of cards, and he's going to give his opponent a Kaiju over here, and he's going to summon a Grand Maju Daiza with 14,000 attack, and he gets one-shotted. Unfortunately, Grand Maju Daiza not going to be level 5, so we can't stop that. Well, I mean, it would be able to absorb it, but it wasn't level 5 or higher. But pretty cool stuff, nonetheless, Salah, too. I really appreciate it. And if you guys want the deck profile, here it is, and then we can talk a little bit about it, and also mention some other suggestions, because I think that there are other Synchro monsters that weren't covered that definitely have some potential. Let's go to the Dragon Synchros, because that's what you get. You can also get out like Power Tool Dragon. It's very specific, because Power Tool Dragon, I believe he's a machine. That's why they like specifically wanted to make sure you can get Power Tool Dragon. But we'll get into that in a second. I'll give you guys the deck profile as you guys saw it. So we have one Elemental Hero, Honest Neos, triple Malicious, 2 copies of Destiny or Celestial, 3 copies of Shadow Mist, 3 copies of Vion, 3 Summoner Monk, 2 copies of Red Resonator, 2 copies of Plug Spreader, which can also be another like target technically. I even was thinking another step forward. You could even throw in cards like Dark Grapher, since you can search out this card anyways. It would forego the discarding or using Malicious as material, and it could get you another level 4 monster, which could also be a level levels are kind of irrelevant, but being another like dark target for your mass change like second, if you wanted to do that. You guys see he does have Dark Law, although it's not like as consistent to throw out a Dark Law turn 1. But again, going to the Dark Grapher play, it would allow you technically to make it quite easier, because he's also a warrior, so it would be another target for Wonder Driver. You could take the step even further, and even go into something like Beatrice, obviously using 2 of those level 6s, and you can just go for you know, extended combo play, setting another card, Plug Spreader, and you can combo even further. But that I don't want to get too complex, because to get out the double Malicious, it is a little bit more of a task. But yeah, like I said, I don't want to overwhelm you guys too much. But anyways, yeah, we got the Red Resonator, and then we have 2 copies of Destiny or Dreamer. This is just a target because we need the equip spells, and he happens just to be level 1, and he's a warrior, and he's a Destiny hero. Works quite well. Then we have 3 copies of Allure, 2 copies of Resonator Call, 3 copies of Poly, 1 copy of Reinforcement of the Army, 3 D-Draws, 1 Foolish Boreal, 3 copies of Mass Change. You can even throw in a Mass Change second. Again, if you want to go for the turn 1 Dark Law plays, it is an option. That way it just doesn't have to be a hero monster. Then we have 1 pot of Acquisitiveness. This is just really good, resets your Maliciouses. And then we also have Divine Sword, Phoenix Blade, of course, on one of the equip cards, and Refusion as another equip card. So this card works really well, of course, with this card, with, of course, Malicious. So one thing I wanted to mention, there was 1 or 2 times where he had an extra card with Void Ogre Dragon. I felt like you kind of used this card, Salah, a little bit too often. I know it's a decent card, but I still think Beals is an excellent dragon. So as far as level 7s, the other ones that you can make, I believe you can make most of these. Well, some of them are like very specific, but for example, like just being able to banish a card is just great. Even Black Rose Moonlight Dragon can be okay, depending on what deck you're playing against. If you're playing against a very specific deck that you know the Moonlight Dragon will be excellent against, yeah, you can go for that. I mean, there's a lot of options here, even with Ancient Fairy Dragon. If you decided to play a different build like a field spell, you could definitely go for that, and this will extend your combos even further, letting you just special summon like that extra monster. Pretty good stuff. And then also for level 8 dragons, again, I mentioned Beals. Beals is just very strong. At one point, it was actually getting more expensive. But as far as other level 8s, this used to be a card that everyone had in their archer deck, but now it hasn't seen some play in a while. Dark End Dragon can actually be pretty good because it does not destroy. But I think it's pretty much been phased out. I mean, he even had Classic Stardust Dragon. Oh, I forgot to go over his extra deck before I make suggestions. Anyways, for the extra deck, Sorry, I need some water. Anyways, Dragon Knight Draco Quest, and then we have a Destiny Hero Dystopia, we have Master Hero Anki, Vision Hero Trinity, Master Hero Dark Law, Destiny Hero Dangerous. This is just a stepping stone for the most part. And then we have Ultimate Tzolkin, we have Void Ogre Dragon, Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, probably one of the cards that you want to make the most often. And then we have Cyframe Lord Omega, the Classic Stardust Dragon, and Coral Dragon, which is going to be one of your targets. Again, if you decide to go for like the Beatrice play, obviously this plus Malicious, there's access to it. Although that would be foregoing the token, that would kind of change up the deck a little bit. But it still is an option again for like extra stepping stones, because you can technically get back your other fusion cards and you can copy some stuff. If you decide to go for like a more difficult, well, it's just going to take you a little bit more practice, because like I said, if you put it in Greffers, you have a lot of potential with this deck also. Then we have the Extra Hero Wonder Driver, the new Link monster, and of course Isolde, which allows you to just get out like basically your Dreamer for free, and it just lets you use it as a stepping stone. But yeah, as far as like other suggestions for the extra deck, like I said, Scrap Dragon is pretty much like out of the game. But where is it? Is it Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend is another card I think is just fantastic. It lets you basically regect your opponent's field. I like that card. Although you will technically lose your field too, but sometimes it's worth, because if it doesn't get its effect, well then you still have your cards, and if they happen to let it go through or whatever, it's still decent. And a lot of times what you can do is, where is it, you can destroy, so it's once per turn you can destroy as many special summon effect monsters on the field as possible with attack less than or equal to this card's, and then other than this card, and then you get to murder your opponent for 500 damage to your opponent for each monster destroyed. And if you happen to keep Tzolkin up, because Tzolkin kind of protects itself, although if you go for the poly play, obviously you're going to go for Draco Quest, which will then banish it. But if you happen to still have it up on board, yeah, you can definitely finish off your opponent maybe next turn. If you have this survive, it can still be another option. I just really like this card. I think I can recommend it. I just think Stardust Dragon is just kind of phased out for the most part in the game. And like I said, you can opt to take out some of these and then fit in any of the cards that I mentioned. But I highly suggest you guys to at least add one Beals, because certain decks, they don't gotten out to Beals. You summon this and they're like, dude, this card's ridiculous. And when it first came out, people were like, wow, dude, I can't believe this card's an actual dig. But anyways, you guys can let me know your thoughts on the Hero Dragon Synchro Tzolkin deck, because you're getting 2 Tzolkin effects in one turn, and potentially, like I said, if you want to do the Refer play, you have a lot more potential to make a Mass Hero Dark Law turn 1, which I think is a better wombo combo. When you have like if you can go like a turn 1 Dark Law, a Void Ogre Dragon, and a Crystal Wingsuit, like if you make these 3 monsters, that's a very tough board for a lot of decks to deal with. And then obviously you have this, so like if you're playing against Trickstars, and you're like, okay, well you can't burn me. Like there's a lot of options with this deck, and I think some of you guys in the community can come up with even crazier ideas. I like these kinds of decks where it's like we made synchros, we used of the new links, like this incorporated everything. It's cool. I like it, and I get to see my synchros again. Although my boy Stardust never gets summoned anymore. I miss Scrap Dragon too. But anyways, also Catastor. I remember that those were like the core synchros, and they're just gone these days. But anyways. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the vid. If you did, drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button for more unique and really innovative Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks.